Hey, I'm back. Welcome back to the internet. Look, we need to talk. What the hell happened in 2012? So, a lot of stuff came out of 2012. We had Tom Hardy's Bane in The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it.
We had the Curiosity rover landed on Mars. We tried to stop the Ugandan warlord Kony.
Until this week, few Americans had heard of Joseph Kony or the atrocities he is said to have committed in Central Africa. But watch what happened when a charity posted a video on the internet to raise awareness about Kony and his alleged crimes.
Hurricane Sandy devastated Jamaica, Haiti, the east coast of America, and Psy performed Gangnam Style on the MTV EMAs.
Say the word, what is it? Oppan Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppan Gangnam Style.
But honestly, the most bizarre event of 2012 was probably the misinterpretation of the Mayan calendar, which, brought on the conspiracy that the world was going to end on December 20, 2012. There was a long list of speculated events, some based in science, others not so much. We had that the solar system was going to get dragged into a black hole. There would be a geomagnetic shift under the Earth's crust that would basically lead to mass climate disaster, basically the world imploding. Planet X, or Nibiru, a rogue planet, was going to collide with Earth, apparently. But honestly, my absolute favorite has to be the impending zombie apocalypse. 28 days later, Dawn of the Dead, Wreck, Night of the Living Dead, Resident Evil, Day of the Dead. So back as far as the 60s, the horror genre has been absolutely spoiling us for zombie lore.
Animals are contagious. The infection is in their blood and saliva. One bite. Stop! You've no idea!
The mode of how one became a zombie evolved with the genre and with perhaps society. First, it was just the dead coming back to life and digging up through their graves. Then we had scientists reanimating corpses, bringing them back to life. Then we get into the more modern zombie, disease, infectious pathogen, a pathogen activated after death, rabies, genetic testing. In Stephen King's 2006 novel Cell, people essentially became zombies through radioactive waves infecting their brain through your cell phone or your television. On the flip side, you had the BBC series In the Flesh, which showed zombies being cured and reintroduced into the place they came from, their home. Just a subtle recommendation, you should really watch that show. It is heartbreaking. Zombies represent society's biggest anxieties, just like any other popular horror theme. Zombies represent disease, mass pandemics of massive proportions that are incurable, but also, just as the vampire is an allegory for capitalism and totalitarianism, and the werewolf is a cishet allegory for being gay, zombies represent the fear of losing oneself, losing your individuality, losing who you are and becoming just another body. Wake up, sheeple, you're a zombie. But that's not really what I'm talking about. That's besides the point. So zombies are just, the lore is dense. It originated, what we know now of the zombie lore originated from the Haitian folklore tales of people being cursed and after death returning to become the slave of that who cursed them. It's obviously evolved since then. Zombie lore goes back as far as ancient Mesopotamia, but the modern zombie is obviously nothing like any of those. So what happened in 2012? In May of 2012, Randy Eugene violently attacked Ronald Popo in public, in the middle of the day, on a busy Miami highway. Eugene had stripped himself naked, and he was found mauling and attacking and eating at the flesh of Ronald Popo's face. He had eaten over 80% of the flesh of his face. When police commanded he stop, he reacted in what would, I guess, be like an animalistic manner. He seemed not human, and police fired on him to stop him, basically.
Just a little correction here in editing. I referred to the Miami zombie as Randy Eugene, and his name is actually Rudy Eugene. Sorry. Just any instance I say Randy, just imagine I'm saying Rudy.
The subject for what triggered this behavior was the street drug known as bath salts. It was a synthetic drug used as a cheap substitute for cocaine. The main ingredient of bath salts was a salt-based fertilizer used in gardening. It was easily accessible. You could pick it up from a hardware store, and it was cheap as hell. But hysteria doesn't come from one random attack, does it? Well, no. Prior to the attack in Miami, there were about 9 reported incidents from 2010 up to 2012 where people under the influence of bath salts were violent and attacking other people, and often resulted in the death of the victim or the perpetrator. But Randy Eugene's case was perplexing. So we know synthetic drugs, they can make you irrational, they can make you violent, but there's irrational and violent, and then there's attacking a stranger on the street and eating them. And before we go any further and discuss this, let's just rule out premeditated cannibalism is obviously on a completely different playing field to this. And I also want to rule out the instances of diseases or illnesses that present in a zombie-like manner, sleeping sickness, catatonic states, anything that presents as the person appearing dead because their life signs are not monitorable, but they're still technically alive. Even when you look at other synthetic drugs like crocodile, for example, which is called the zombifying drug, it's different because crocodile, well, first of all, crocodile was a sedative. And it was called the zombifying drug because, well, it sedated you to the point where your life signs were very unrecognizable almost. And long-term use often resulted in necrosis of the flesh. Your flesh starts to rot. Crocodile, as I said, was a sedative. Bath salts was a stimulant. 2 very different drugs. People fear the zombie that is fast, aggressive, can infect you if it gets you. People don't fear the shambly, slow Gen X zombie, you know? I am scared of the flesh-hungry hunter that's faster than me, more than, oh no, grandma came back from the dead. Plot twist. When Randy Eugene had his autopsy, no bath salts were found in his system. Eugene had a criminal history. He was violent. He abused his ex-wife, but he still had no real indication that this would happen. He didn't have any mental health problems that led to psychosis, and abusers don't react in the way he reacted. Regardless of this, Popo made a full recovery. He had reconstructive surgery to his face, and he never turned. Time and place isolated incidents shouldn't feed hysteria, but I think it says a lot about society that just a little sprinkling of this guy could have been a zombie just triggered something massive. After this incident, several cases of bath salt-related aggravated attacks took place through the duration of 2012. In a few of these incidents of bath salt-related attacks, people were directly mentioning the Randy Eugene attack. One guy even stated, "If you come near me, I'll eat you like that guy from Miami." Of course, this theory wouldn't have any legs to stand on if it weren't for conspiracy theorists, unfortunately. Conspiracy theorists spread the word that bath salts were a drug engineered and distributed by the CIA to cite a race war. The theory was that the CIA wanted to start a race war, as a lot of the perpetrators were men of color. And this was the year that Barack Obama was up for re-election. So apparently this race war would delegitimize Barack Obama as a man of color in the presidency. A few things about that theory. The CIA is a branch of the federal government in the USA. Barack Obama is the president of the federal government of the USA, and he was still technically president. This was his third re-election. Either Obama was trying to sabotage himself, or the CIA were going behind his back and doing something of this larger scale to make sure he wasn't re-elected. I question that theory. Even if that theory had bones to it, it doesn't change the fact that there were incidents overseas, sans the presence of bath salts. Only a month after the Miami attack, a man in China ran out onto a busy street and started aggressively pummeling his fists against a woman's windshield while in traffic. She came out of the car, tried to escape. He tackled her and began to try and bite at her flesh. Apparently he was quite drunk on grain alcohol. In October that year, a man on a Chinese subway train basically did the exact same thing, aggressively started attacking a random guy and trying to bite at his flesh. Despite the fact that these were newsworthy incidents, they were still isolated and they were still relatively rare. Part of what makes a zombie apocalypse fearful is the spread of disease. No disease was spread in any of these instances. No folie à deux, no anything. I think it's the fact that we still don't know what caused these men to snap and attack in the way they did. Apocalypse, though, not really. So here we are in 2012. We're following the theory that the world's going to end somehow. NASA debunked the theory of the black hole sucking in our solar system and the rogue planet colliding with us. Scientists debunked the geomagnetic shift under the Earth's crust. You know, the Large Hadron Collider is not going to open tiny tears in the space-time continuum, slowly eating away at the matter of our universe. So what do we have left? God's coming. Jesus is coming back. We're punished for our sins. Bring on the rapture. Here come the 4 horsemen. Or zombies. I honestly don't have time to go into the contradictory aspects of this theory that Mexico, Mesoamerica, was colonized by Spanish Christians and they saw the Mayan religion as sacrilegious paganism, so I don't know why all of a sudden religious leaders are looking at a pagan calendar and saying, well, they said the world's going to end when they said they didn't trust their religion in the first place. But regardless, in a public survey conducted in the US in 2012, people cited that their biggest concern regarding the end of days was the zombie apocalypse. This hysteria was bubbling to the surface, and certain events such as the US Department of Homeland Security, including zombie training exercises in their counterterrorism summit, maybe freaked people out a bit. In an effort to quell the doomsday rumors in China, it was actually an offense to spread world is ending theories. You could be arrested for it. While the Australian government did this.
Dear remaining fellow Australians, the end of the world is coming. It wasn't Y2K, it wasn't even the carbon price. It turns out that the Mayan calendar was true. While Australia's best and brightest at the CSIRO have not been able to confirm this, I'm confident in Triple J's prediction that the world is about to end. Whether the final blow comes from flesh-eating zombies, demonic hell beasts, or from the total triumph of K-pop.
Here we are in 2019, 7 years after the fact. December 20, 2012 came and went like any other day. No zombie pandemic, no nothing. If anything, the reports of zombie attacks basically diminished and ultimately disappeared. It all became just a, hey, remember when that happened moment. You know what's the worst part about all of this? Hate to say it, but zombie apocalypse, it's not going to happen. It's the least of our worries. Climate change is real. We have 12 years left to stop undoable damage to this planet. We need to make a massive societal change, and instead we're making up theories about how Jesus is coming back. Can you understand my frustration? But I guess I'll just see you at the end of the world in 2020, 2021, 2026, 2060, or in 300,000 years when the WR104 supernovas. Let me know what you think about zombie pandemics and end of the world theories. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment if you like. You can subscribe if you want, but I'm not going to force you. And I'll see you in my next video.